Hello, friends. Good morning. Wanted to talk about time today because I have been feeling dissatisfied with the words that are available to me, or the way that they're used, or maybe just my own vocabulary. There's ways that I relate to time that are really important to me that I think aren't reflected by common language or the gradations that people typically use. And I think it really matters. It really matters to me, at least, for flourishing in my own life, but I think there's something here that might be interesting and valuable for others as well. I guess there's at least two scales that I'm thinking about things. One is on sort of a local short scale, and one is on a really long-term scale. With the short scale, I'm thinking about habits and things you do that are good for you. One way that you can talk about such things is, I do this daily. Or people try to maintain consistency. I do this consistently. And that makes sense. I mean, some habits really should be daily. I try to brush my teeth daily, try to floss daily, take a shower daily. Some things are good to do. But often in practice, that can be hard. And in fact, there's a lot of habits that we might want to do with that kind of regularity, but it could be difficult to do daily. And if you frame it just in terms of doing it daily or doing it consistently, then that can be discouraging, because maybe in practice you don't do it daily. I don't know, like a good example would be Tai Chi. I love Tai Chi. Tai Chi is really good for me. It feels good in my body. It generates energy. It has a bunch of effects that are actually pretty hard to name, but I can feel it. It's like, oh yeah, this is really good for me. Balance, coordination, embodiment, presence, attention, all of that. And it would be great if I did Tai Chi literally every day of my life. That would be great. And in practice, sometimes I miss it. I've gone even long stretches without doing it. And this kind of makes sense from a perspective of just looking at how many habits would be good to do daily. It'd be great to do a lot of things daily. And if I made a list of all the things I might theoretically like to do daily, there wouldn't be 24 hours in the day for them. It wouldn't really be feasible to live my life and also do all of these habits. So we have to prioritize. And one way that I have accommodated the desire to do a lot of different things, to get good at a lot of different things, with the practicalities of having so many waking hours in the day, is by de-emphasizing consistency in a lot of cases, de-emphasizing doing it daily, and telling myself really a story, having a self-concept that is like, I do this regularly. I regularly do Tai Chi, for example. I regularly write. I regularly make visual art. I regularly make music. Those are things that are true or aspirationally true. I don't know, I'm probably not going to be the kind of person that literally draws every day of my life. Visual art isn't the most important thing to me in my life. There might be times where I draw every day, like Inktober, which I've done every year for the last few years. But I don't really want to draw every day. I don't care that much about visual art and drawing. I like it. It's fun. It's fun to do sometimes. So I draw regularly. I don't know. Probably on average I draw once a week or something. It comes and goes. It's seasonal. That's another important word here. There are seasons where I do more of it. There are seasons where I do less of it. In any case, I do it regularly when I do it. I don't do it consistently. I don't do it daily. And having that move available has been important for me, especially in caring about a lot of different things, being a jack of all trades, wanting to get good at many different things. So that's sort of the short scale. I also want to talk about the long scale. You know, one path to excellence that's tried and true is to become focused on one thing, to do that thing literally every day, all day long, for decades of your life. And I really admire people who are like that, people who are obsessive, people who are excellent. And that is, in a lot of cases, the conditions to be world class at something, to be even the best. And, you know, something I remember realizing this in middle school when I was really interested in chess. For a lot of my chess, I was interested in, for a lot of my childhood, I was interested in chess off and on. And I remember realizing in middle school, I just don't like chess enough that I'll do it every day, all day long. I was kind of forcing myself for a while to try to do that, and it was just failing. I was like, I'm not built like that. I don't want that. And as much as I liked chess at the time, that wasn't something that I wanted to care about that much. And I think at a deeper level, I kind of realized I'm not sure there's anything that I want to do all day, every day. I don't know, I've done that with reading in the past or meditation for a while, and those always break for me. Those are actually the things that I have the most complicated, tangled relationships with, where I try to make it my whole life. I've had times where my relationship with chess or reading or meditation got tangled and messed up, and had to rebuild what those meant to me and reconnect to them and tell myself a new story. I have these essays, Taschen Can Meditate as a Treat, which I wrote in 2023, late 2023, and then Taschen Can Read as a Treat that I wrote in 2024. That's, both of those are kind of the same shaped essay, where it's like how I acknowledge what wasn't working for me in my relationship with that activity, and then overcame it by telling myself a new story and relating to it a new way, and also developing some new specific tactics for how I related to it. And actually, in both of those cases, part of it was shifting my identity from someone who did this consistently or daily to someone who does this regularly. I do read regularly. I do meditate regularly. I don't meditate daily right now. I don't read daily right now. They're not things I do consistently. I do them regularly. And there are also things that I do seasonally. Sometimes I'm more interested in them or less interested in them. Sometimes I focus on them for a time, and sometimes I let them go for weeks or months or years. And that's actually fine. I think that's very natural. It's very human. It's very animal even. It's very embodied. It's very earthly to have seasons, even if they're not the literal earth seasons of spring, fall, winter, summer, etc. We have those kinds of periods of emphasis and thematic interest or disinterest, and fighting those is not great. So anyway, some people are built like, hey, I can do this one thing every day for years and sustain interest in it and get better at it and overcome the obstacles and become excellent and world class and even the best at the thing. And I just kind of know that either I'm not built like that or that's not what I want. And part of that is just how many things I am interested in and curious about. And for me, a full life involves variety and breadth. And I do want to be a jack of all trades, master rather than a master of one. And even within that, that frame can be kind of pejorative, where it's like, oh, a jack of all trades is the master of none. But I think there's a path to excellence and even mastery within being a jack of all trades that I've kind of discovered for myself, where, yeah, the jack of trades will probably never be the world's best at something. They may not even be, top 100 or top 500, but you can find excellence and a kind of mastery within that. And I think the path that's worked for me for that is to be clear about what I am focusing on. And so, for example, there are 3 areas of my work that I call love, curiosity, and empowerment. And I decided in 2021 and 2022, that's what I'm working on. And I literally tattooed to my body to kind of make a commitment and a promise and a prayer that that's what I was going to be working on for the rest of my life. And, we'll see how it goes. Life is a long adventure and things change and it's a story and so on. But so far, since making those commitments, I've focused on love, curiosity, and empowerment. And those are the main frames that guide my life. That most if not all things I do, I can frame in terms of, yes, this is a love activity for me. This is a curiosity activity for me. This is an empowerment activity for me. This is a love context. This is a curiosity context. This is an empowerment context. I remember realizing actually that I could do my calendar coding in terms of these 3 themes. Mary, who I work with, was telling me about how she enjoyed and benefited from doing calendar coding, and that kind of gave her a sense of what she was spending her time on and any imbalances. And I started coding my calendar immediately with those 3 themes, and then like admin and personal, like hangout, social, and then also admin stuff. And everything popped into those categories so easily. And I also realized I'm already really balancing these things. Every week I spend some time on each of them. I don't spend too much time on any one of them. I'm already balancing them. So I don't know that I got much benefit from calendar coding other than aesthetic pleasure. It feels nice. It looks nice, but and it reminds me of my values and what I'm doing, and oh yeah, that's what this is. But I didn't get that specific benefit of rebalancing my time. It's a little bit like I have 3 part-time jobs and I spend time each week on those jobs, probably on average about 2 work days a week on each of those. And I work every day. That's something too, that I work every day. I do a bit of work every day, just every day. I don't do typically 12-hour days. I don't do 5 days a week. I don't have a weekend. I like working some every day. That just works for me. And it's because I like my work. I've picked things that I like doing, that I enjoy doing. And if I get tired of one, I can switch to the other. And the same frame of, this is part of what I'm lacking words for, but having long-term dedication to a clear path or a clear interest or a clear theme or a clear activity, such that you can sustain breaks or time off or seasons away or even years away and know that you're going to come back. This at a more granular level, again, like Tai Chi is a good example. I started Tai Chi in 2021, and for a while I was practicing literally every day, and then for reasons I won't get into here, I wanted to take some time off, and I end up again needing to build a new relationship with it, telling a new story about it, connecting to a new motivation source of why I cared about it. And I just kind of knew I'm going to come back to this. This is something I want to do for the rest of my life, and I may not literally do it every day, but there are going to be seasons of doing it on and off. And I guess I would call this modality persistence. If consistency is doing something every day or at a particular rhythm, once a week or something like that, and doing something regularly is doing it most days or often when you feel like it, but not literally every day, then doing something persistently is kind of making an internal commitment and having the self-knowledge to know I'm going to care about this for a long time. I'm going to keep going with this for a long time. And I'm going to have seasons of emphasis and de-emphasis. And that's okay. That's actually part of the process. Another good example would be, for me, is fiction, which I've gotten into over the last few years. I've written 4 novellas now. I think they're great. I hope you read them. They're very short. They each take an hour or two to read. There's audiobooks of 3 of them, and the 4th one's on the way. And I want to keep writing fiction for a long time, if not the rest of my life. We'll see. Loosely at a schedule of something like 1 novel a year. I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I've written 4 novels, so we're doing pretty good. We're ahead of schedule. And, you know, if I miss a year, that's fine. If I write 2 novels in a year, that's fine. If I take 3 years off, that's fine. Also, theoretically, if I decide I'm not that into fiction anymore, I want to focus my time and energy on something else, that's also fine. But loosely, 1 novel a year seems like a rhythm that I can maintain. And that involves, in practice, seasons of emphasis and de-emphasis where, you know, for parts of the year, I don't think that much about fiction. And then there'll be parts of the year, maybe like NaNoWriMo, where I spend more time on a particular project, and that's the emphasis for a while. Another one would be Inktober, of course. I did Inktober last year. That was my 4th year, I think, of doing Inktober in a row, if I'm not mistaken. That's where you draw every day. Make at least 1 drawing a day for 30 days or whatever, however many days are in October. And I love that. It's a good practice. And almost immediately after it finished, I was like, I'm good. And I didn't draw for several months for the most part. And now I'm sort of starting to get back, starting to get interested again. And I intend to do Inktober later this year, assuming, you know, things are mostly the same with that status quo, not committing to it. And I love that for me. I really love that. I know that I have persistence. I know that I will do things for years. I know that I will keep going with things that I care about. I know myself well enough to know what it is that I care about and also what I don't. I've had to set some things aside, like chess, for example. Now I play chess occasionally. I've just been playing chess the last few days with some friends, but it's a fun, lighthearted thing that I'm not trying to get better at. I'm not trying to optimize. I'm not trying to be, you know, maximize my ELO rating or something. It's just a fun game I can play with friends sometimes. There's plenty of things I'm not trying to be good at or excellent at, but I do know what I want to be good at. I do know what I care about, and those things I can do persistently over years, get better at them over years, and also take time off when it doesn't feel right, when it's not interested. I'm actually remembering a story from Josh Waitzkin and also from his father. I think they both talk about this story in their respective books about his chess career. His father's book is Searching for Bobby Fischer, and then he wrote the book The Art of Learning. Both of them are really good, and they talk about how when he was a kid, they would go to the Bahamas, I think, in the summers and take the summer off, and he just wouldn't do chess for the whole summer. I think at the end of the summer, they would let him play a little chess with some of the fishermen that were on the island, and it would be fun. It would be fun chess. And he would come back actually stronger and more excited about chess and more in love with it because he took time off than the kids who were just grinding all summer. And, you know, his chess career lasted longer than other people, and he was a better player. Of course, he didn't end up becoming, you know, he wasn't Magnus Carlsen. He wasn't the world's best, but he's really good. And then he went on to get really good at Tai Chi Chuan. And then he went on to get really good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then he went on to get really good at, I think, stock trading or something, or advising investors. I don't even know what he does now. But he's really good, excellent at those things. You know, he was the Tai Chi Chuan champion. I think he won some stuff in Jiu-Jitsu too when he did that. You can become excellent at multiple things over the course of a lifetime if you have this relationship with learning. You may not be the world's best. You may not be the top 100, but you can get really good. So music would be another example of this for me. We'll see what happens, and then this music collective Heart Kiss with the Love Department. I want to make music that inspires people to cultivate love. And, you know, I'm probably never going to be the world's best musician. I'm not going to be the Beatles. I'm not going to be Radiohead. I'm not going to be Coldplay. I don't know, whatever it is that's the world's top musical act, U2 or something. And that's okay. I'm just going to make some good music that I like with my friends. And it's actually going to be surprisingly good because of the way I'm setting it up, which is I'm going to do it persistently over years. And I'm also collaborating with people who have skills that I don't. Like Aspen, who's my main collaborator. She's an amazing musician and producer and has so many musical talents. And then we pull in other musicians as kind of session musicians. You know, we had an incredible pianist a couple of times recently. We had Rosemary Singh with us on that track, Holy. Through collaboration with people who have skills that you don't, you can also level up what you're excellent at. But coming back to time though, my main point is persistence over years with something that you know yourself well enough that you're going to care about for years and even decades is overpowered, I think, for a way to kind of balance the desire for excellence, that ambition, the desire to have an impact, with being sustainable over years and actually enjoying it, actually flourishing in it. I want to enjoy my life. That's a really core value. And if I just focused on one thing, I know I would be unhappy. I actually know with the three things that I focus on, love, curiosity, and empowerment, exactly the way in which I would be unhappy if I only did love. Exactly the way I would be unhappy if I only did curiosity. Exactly the way I would be unhappy if I only did empowerment. You know, with love, I would be kind of like psychologically happy and like smiley and joyous, and also kind of bored and disinterested. My mind, my heart would be missing something. And with curiosity, I'd be learning so much about specific things I would be interested in, but I would be missing that drive to connect with other people in a certain way. And with empowerment, if I was just focusing on supporting other people with their projects and their vows, I would be missing my own heart and what I cared about and what my own vow is. So persistence is the way that I've solved this problem. Hey, I'm putting my feet in the ground. This is something I care about. I'm going to be here. I'm going to keep working on this for decades, for years and decades. With people I care about, I'm going to create structures and infrastructure to make this possible. And if I need some time off, even a long time off, if I need some perspective, if I want to focus on something else, that's okay. I'll come back to it when I'm ready. And that's what gives me the confidence that I can do this for a long time. Of course, we'll see how it plays out. It's a bet, it's a wager, but so far so good. I've been going at this for a while. So these terms, making distinctions between consistency and regularity, emphasizing seasonality, and what we might call persistence, which allows for regularity and seasonality within long-term commitment, on the basis of self-knowledge. These are things that have helped me with my own relationship to time and excellence and the desire to live a life that I find beautiful and inspiring, and one that will make me happy, that I find joyful, and that has the kind of impact that I want to have in the world without overly myopically focusing on one thing, which people can do, bless their hearts, but I just know it's not for me. So I hope you found these ideas interesting. I'm curious how you relate to time in general and in particular, and if any of these terms or distinctions resonate, if you'd add any other ones, and hope you're well.